remembers what Ed said, how to explain the buyer form that's coming over. Go ahead, Ed. Say it in your words.
Hey, Byron. So I'm going to be sending you 2 documents. One of them is a Connecticut disclosure form, just explains relationships between the consumer, and myself and the realtor. And then this second form, which is going to need an e-signature, is a buyer's representation form.
Yeah, I didn't know I had to sign a representation form. What is that?
Well, so for full transparency, the representation form just reiterates the 2 properties that I told you about that we're going to go and see for our home tour. It also gives you an explanation in regards to that we're going to be together for 2 weeks. I only do it for 14 days because we don't know each other as we build a relationship. And the second thing, it also gives you an idea of how I get compensated. And normally, just to give you another idea, that compensation normally gets covered by the seller. But it's just something for you to be aware. No, nothing hidden. It's just an agreement done and they need signed prior to this.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at that. Thanks, Ed. Good job. So there's 3 things when they ask, hey, what's this form about? It talks about the properties that we're going on tour, talks about how I get compensated, and it discusses the length of time that we're going to be able to discuss these properties. So remember, on that disclosure form, it clearly states, do not share confidential information until you enter a written representation agreement. So what Ed is saying to customers right now is really in line with this Connecticut law. The next line is Connecticut law requires you to be given this notice to enable you to make informed choices about real estate transactions. So when Ed says, typically what I do for my customers, for my clients, is I put this out for 2 weeks because you and I don't know each other yet. One, that makes them feel comfortable. It's not a long-term agreement. That's also the amount of time that we're going to be allowed to talk about and discuss this property, discuss the details, discuss the confidential information. Like if you were, Sophia, to make an offer on this property, would you be pulling a mortgage or going cash, right? That's confidential information that now we are getting out of the client to try to position the right strategy, the right offer. Does it make sense to make an offer on this property? All of that. It is a law, so if you're a licensed agent, whether you're NAR or not, which obviously in Connecticut there's really nobody that's not NAR, but every licensed agent by Connecticut law will need to give this notice to customers if they're following the law before they go ahead and make decisions on properties. Okay? Emily, what questions do you have specifically about the buyer form?
Well, I don't know you, and I just want to be able to tour the home. You can tell me about these material defects on the property. You can treat me fairly, not reveal any confidential information about me. Why do we need to sign anything? I'll just be an unrepresented party.
Yeah, so Emily, really there's 3 ways you can go about this. One, you can have those conversations with the listing agent. When it comes to material defects, they're only going to be able to disclose what the seller has disclosed to them. And obviously they are having a relationship with the seller, so they're going to potentially have the seller's best interest at heart. Number 2, you can try to do this on your own. There's ways you can tour properties, there's open houses, there's opportunities to sign unrepresented with the listing agent. Or 3, how I work and how I represent customers and eventually clients just like you, is that I give them everything at my disposal to have full disclosure on the property. But Emily, I want you to feel super comfortable before me and you get into any type of a long-term relationship. And that's why in our buyer agreement, I can set aside 14 days where we can discuss all the material facts about this property that you brought up. I can represent you to the fullest. And at the end of those 14 days, on this particular property, if you want to move on from me, because again, we don't know each other yet, you'll have the ability to go ahead and do that. Is that fair?
What are you going to know that the listing agent's not going to know?
Yeah, what do you understand about a listing agent when they sign with a seller?
Obviously, they're representing their best interest, but at the same time, if they're walking around the house and they see things wrong with it, they're pointing that out to the seller and telling the seller they have to disclose it, so everything should be disclosed.
Yeah, and when they sign with that seller, their job and duty there is to represent that seller to the fullest and get the property sold, right?
Yeah, but legally they have to share the information with all the buyers.
Absolutely. And Emily, in your experience, when somebody commits to somebody else to represent them, can you see where some things may not get mentioned, whether it's right or wrong?
Yeah, I guess. Are you going to know those things if they're not disclosed?
Absolutely. So Emily, that's a great question. And there's going to be certain things that nobody knows until we have an inspection. And selecting the right inspector, putting the person to represent you in your best interests in place when we go ahead and do that inspection is going to be a critical part of the process. Building in protections so that you can get out of any contract if we find material defects with the property is also going to be important, how we strategize and create offers. Now, I've also torn 27 homes this week alone. You could compound that by my X amount years of experience. And there are things that I can see that an inspector is going to uncover. Now, I'm not a contractor and I'm not an inspector, so we can't say that's for certain, but I am going to highlight those issues. If a seller hasn't disclosed it to a listing agent, can you imagine that the listing agent might not mention the staining on a ceiling, for example? And if the seller has told them that that's old, that's already been taken care of, that they're just going to potentially hope we don't see it and we don't notice it. But Emily, I want you to feel super comfortable. So if I can make our agreement 7 days, and if I can show you in these next 7 days what I can do for you to fully represent you, take that work off of your plate, make this process easy for you, and earn your business, will you move forward today for the 7-day agreement? And at the end of the 7 days, if it doesn't work, of course you have that option to start looking for non-representation or other representation.
If you want to send me a list of all the things you're going to do, I'll review that and let you know.
Great, I'm gonna send that over to you now. And I know what's most important to you is to be able to get out and tour these homes. And right now you want to see 123 Main Street tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And I don't want to put any interference between you and seeing that property. So why don't I do this? Why don't I send you everything that I can do? And we go ahead and for a 72-hour window, at least get you into the property. I'm taking all the risk here because ultimately if you love the property, you wait a day and you go ahead and you can make an offer with the listing agent. My goal is to get you into the property so that you don't have any hiccups in your process. And at the end of the day, earn your business. Emily, while I'm at it, I'm gonna start working to uncover properties that might fit your criteria. And if I can show you what I can do for you, I hope you'll consider moving forward, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. My goal once we meet is to earn your business. You're gonna have the freedom of choice to make that decision of what you wanna do. If I really wanna win that business, it's going to be up to me to go make a great impression, show them I've done some work for them. Here are a couple of off-market properties I've uncovered for you. Here are some people who are thinking about selling that I've spoken to before I came here that I might be able to get you into. These are the types of things that I'm already doing for you on a 7-day agreement that I'm going to pour all of my energy once we sign a 6-month agreement.
At BAMX, we listen to what real estate professionals want and need. That's why our platform is filled with sought-after courses, content, and tactical assets for your business. And that's why we launched BAMX in a box with templates and scripts done for you, delivered each Friday. The best part? It's not coming from panel pontificators who bought their followers and don't sell any real estate. It's coming from top agents, team leaders, and content creators in the industry. It's education that actually shows you how to do what you need in today's market. And now it includes editable templates and scripts so you can easily deliver that knowledge to your database. Every day, we continue to add more content into BAMX, into our private Facebook community, content that works, content that our members have exclusive access to daily. Do not wait any longer. Use code Byron and join the thousands of agents taking their business to the next level today. Code Byron for 10% off. I'll see you in BAMX.